We open on a cloaked figure before cutting to Oscar as he chastises a pair of cops listening in on some illicit goings-on. Said goings-on being between Fujiko and Zenigata of all people. There's more to it than that, as he's assigned her to help out at Garnier Palais, where Lupin's targeting a valuable jewel-adorned mask. The mask is owned by the opera singer Ayane Maya, who wears it due to facial burns courtesy of an obsessive fan. Oscar's not too pleased at Zenigata's plan, but he simply says it takes a thief to catch a thief. Fujiko's shown around the opera house, which includes beekeeping as well as aqueducts. The aqueducts are mostly dry now, but were once known as the River of Oblivion. As the tour concludes, a man named Lorenzo warns Ayane's been targeted by a ghost that supposedly haunts the house. Zenigata settles in for the performance, Tosca, as well as Lupin's inevitable performance. Fujiko is part of the show, but the stage horse grabs her and speaks in a familiar voice. They're both cut off when they hear a crash, revealing a stage light nearly landed on Ayane. Despite this and the sighting of the ghost that only sees its cape have any tangible appearance, she improvises to continue the show to act break. With Lorenzo claiming the ghost is angered, Zenigata decides to have Fujiko act as a body double with a fake mask, making a snide comment that she can be a pretty good actress when she wants to be. As the show continues, Zenigata explains to Oscar that a trapdoor will lower Fujiko down and replace her with Ayane to draw out Lupin. Too bad for him, the door lowers her too early, trapping her beneath the stage. As Ayane takes stage, Fujiko finds a note. It gives directions on where to stand to avoid the stage lights, meaning Ayane was never in any danger from the ghost. With that in mind, Fujiko's got a good idea as to his identity. As the ghost grabs Ayane, Lupin sets the bees on the stage using a device planted in the mask. In the confusion, Ayane's mask slips, revealing no acid burn. One of the staff recognises her as a woman named Nora as Lupin makes a move on the mask. By this point, Fujiko's also escaped, emerging in the aqueduct. Oscar passes by, calling her a vile pig woman spittoon, but at the same time requesting her help for Zenigata's sake. Zenigata himself is enjoying the hunt, not really caring about retrieving the mask at this point. Fujiko presses forward and discovers water, remembering back to how the aqueduct was initially described. This also leads her to have a strange vision as the ghost closes in on her. Lupin's having fun giving Zenigata the runaround. Zenigata in turn manages to land a shot on Lupin. Not that it actually hit him, as the blood that comes from the wound is just chili sauce. Worse still, Oscar ends up knocking him out with a trapdoor and having a rather amusing reaction to it. The ghost, revealed to be Lorenzo, attacks Fujiko as a second ghost appears. Revealed to be the real Ayane, they take Fujiko to a hidden room. Ayane explains that the whole thing was a hoax so she and Lorenzo could run off together. She's pretty hardcore method about it too, as the acid burn's certainly real. She also decided to let Nora in on the whole thing, as she had a talent for singing herself and Ayane wanted to help her become a star in her own right. Fujiko can only watch as the mask is tossed into a fire as fuel for Ayane's cooking. Lupin arrives, lamenting he lost the mask, but he and Fujiko decide to at least stay and enjoy a meal with the couple. Well, that opening is certainly one thing Zenigata's managed to beat Lupin on. Not sure how in character it might be, as while he's certainly not immune to Fujiko, he's generally come off as so much of a straight arrow it's kind of odd that he'd actually do the deed with her to let her off. Maybe it's more pronounced in the manga or something. Granted, it could also be a callback to the very first episode in a sense, given Fujiko exchanged her freedom for turning in Lupin as revealed at the end of it. Starting to get a bit more Lupin in nature here too, as Zenigata gets more of a real appearance compared to the first episode. Still plays up to the obsession of capturing Lupin, and even works in a bit of the slapstick with some help from Oscar. Also get the first hint as to something that happened to her in her past here too. Ending was a bit of an anticlimax, but so far Fujiko's not really had much luck with getting her hands on any treasure, so I suppose it's consistent. Given Lupin's dealt with the supernatural, kinda surprising they didn't end with a shot implying the actual opera house ghost or something really. As Fujiko takes some time to relax, Lupin arrives with a bouquet of flowers. They're made from alexandrite, which changes colour depending on the light. Fujiko's impressed, but not enough to warrant his initial calling card declaring he'll steal her. Lupin suggests the alexandrite on display in the Smithsonian, but Fujiko's mind is on a peacock statue apparently located in Egypt. Jigen also happens to be en route to Egypt, brushing up on his lore. He's offered the chance to try out a test involving a scale which changes the weight of a heart depending on the person's sins. It turns out to be a scam to distract him, as the Sand's in league with a pair of thieves. The only thing Jigen has left is his magnum, but a broker tells him it's not worth much when he tries to sell it off. Pointing out he's obviously not law-abiding on top of that, she suggests that he check out the peacock statue himself, which can represent treasure or death depending on when it's red or blue respectively. Entering the pyramid the statue is located, he first falls victim to a flamethrower as he tries to light a cigarette. It displays an image of a pharaoh, which Jigen realises is just oil painted in an elaborate manner, set to light up when the fire trap is sprung, as a voice demands that Jigen leave. He runs as the floor is torn up by another trap, but loses his footing. Gunfire rings out, with the source being a sarcophagus. Jigen manages to toss a rock in its direction, and as it breaks apart, Lupin's revealed to be inside. The pair get caught in a standoff, with Lupin curious about what Jigen's after. Upon learning, a gunfight ensues between both them and a trap Lupin triggers. Evenly matched as they are, Lupin notes he heard 6 magnum shots. Jigen calls his bluff as Lupin's emptied his Walther's clip too. Jigen manages to overpower Lupin and escape him as the chamber collapses. Taking time to reload, Jigen heads deeper inside. He's stuck dealing with various mechanisms designed to keep grave robbers at bay, but his gunman skills do the job in countering. He's also revealed not to be alone as he takes note of a hieroglyph. Upon reaching a burial chamber, Jigen discovers the same Weigh Your Sins scale as well as a sarcophagus and an indent. His pursuer turns out to be Lupin, who thanks him for taking care of the bigger dangers and allowing him to follow with ease. Jigen also realises Lupin helped him in turn, having swapped out 5 of his bullets for explosive rounds. The scale seems keen opening the sarcophagus, so Lupin tries it, noting that while everyone's sinful, the trick is not to let them weigh you down. It works, and the two move the mummy inside to the indent. The chamber then tilts, revealing another trap. Scorpions have also nested in the mummy itself, so they're forced to drop it. Outside, Lupin and Jigen get caught in a sand trap. Fujiko appears, revealing she got in via a safe route she picked up from another grave robber. The sand trap leads to a juicer of sorts, with the red of the peacock seemingly being the blood of the unfortunate victim that falls inside. Only one's needed, but Lupin notes that a death like this would sully his family name, while Jigen, finally learning who he is, admits this whole heist has reinvigorated him. Fujiko watches as the peacock is filled with a blue liquid. Both Lupin and Jigen emerge, revealing they fired at the mummy, the blue liquid being the blood of the scorpions inside it. The wall with the peacock drawing opens to reveal the peacock statue was real, made of alexandrite. It was resting on a weighted pedestal, which sets off a spider trap as Fujiko grabs it. Fujiko sets the chamber alight as she tries to fight the spiders off, but Lupin keeps his cool, knowing that tombs like this always have a secret exit for the builders to escape from. He signals Jigen to fire at a wall, and the three make their escape. Unfortunately, Fujiko has to part with the statue, as it's needed to open the exit door. Outside, Lupin suggests going for the stone at the Smithsonian, but Fujiko leaves, saying her price just got higher. Lupin and Jigen consider continuing their duel, but ultimately hold off, with Jigen departing giving his name. This episode certainly feels like one of the more standard Lupin heists. Funnily enough, it's also the one to feature Fujiko the least so far, only really appearing at the beginning and end. In her case, character-wise, she comes off in her more usual role too, giving Lupin something to steal so he can impress her. Still, this does serve as a nice How Lupin Met Jigen story, pulling a bit from other versions like episode 0, given they start as enemies and end up enjoying working together. I know Lupin III throws a wrench into things a bit having them work together as kids, but I'm pretty sure someone could think up something to make it all work. I still stand by the motto that a loose continuity doesn't mean no continuity. Lupin also shows he knows what he's doing, having Jigen do all the legwork but at least giving him a slight advantage with the explosive rounds. Also knows his Egyptian treasure chambers well too, even if it did mean giving up the treasure once again. Amusing in itself, as while it's not the last time he does some tomb raiding, it does also make me think of how badly he handled a mummy curse back in Series 2. Fujiko's working at an all-girls academy as a teacher. She's gotten the attention of a lot of the students there, proving even women aren't immune to her charm, with a girl named Angelica being the most bold about it. Fujiko turns her down, noting another student, Isolde Blacker, has also been watching from the sidelines. Isolde and Fujiko start bonding as she opens up about her past. She was mostly homeschooled by her father, but he died about a month prior, with the pendant she wears serving as a memento of him. Fujiko compliments Isolde's hair, though this later spurns Angelica to cut it and abuse her. Isolde heads to Fujiko's room for comfort. Fujiko's receptive until Isolde knocks her out. It's then revealed that Isolde was actually Asuka. 3 months prior, Isolde's father, a physics professor, wrote a pair of papers that will rock the scientific world when combined. Lupin, who's gotten one already, has put out a calling card planning to steal the second. Asuka tells Zenigata to leave this job to him, meeting the real Isolde and assuming her identity. Asuka leaves Fujiko tied up, revealing his jealousy of Fujiko's earlier encounter with Zenigata, the jealousy being towards her, even though he admits Zenigata would never look his way. As she sleeps, Fujiko has a strange dream involving people in owl masks and a voice claiming he wants to chronicle every moment of her life. She wakes up to see Lupin standing over her at an open window. Later, Lupin grabs Asuka, still in disguise as Isolde, and offers to help keep the paper safe. They're interrupted by Angelica and his friends demonstrating what happens to a man setting foot on campus. Chasing them to a greenhouse, Lupin's locked inside by Asuka. He then floods it with knockout gas, thanking the girls for their help. Zenigata contacts Asuka, who's revealed to have been caught by Fujiko. Fujiko taunts Asuka, having done a bait and switch with the pendant when the two got close. She needs a code to unlock it, however, otherwise the paper inside, the other half of Blacker's work, will be shredded. As she threatens Zenigata with further torture, Asuka gives in and tells her the code. Zenigata arrives on the scene, though is confused at Asuka's attitude towards him. The greenhouse is also empty, Lupin having likely escaped while Fujiko kept Asuka talking. As she opens the pendant, Fujiko tells Lupin the voice of Zenigata that Asuka heard came from when she put the moves on him, and she recorded the encounter for potential further use. Lupin raises an eyebrow at her doing that, and also learns the pendant code was ZNGT, or Zenigata. Back at police headquarters, Asuka angrily declares revenge on Fujiko. Lupin III's always been one for paying homage to other series, and this one pretty clearly tributes the whole girls love academy thing that has been fairly prevalent in anime over the years. Think Maria Sama ga Mitaru to give one of the better known examples. I have to admit, I forgot that Fujiko was the one to initiate the encounter with Zenigata, though as I said earlier, he never was immune to her charm. Still, funny to see that come back and actually made use of here. Also funny that both episodes feature the strange visions involving butterflies and owl mask people, hinting at something in the overarching plot of the series. This episode also gives more spotlight to Asuka. He clearly thought rather little of Fujiko given his attitude towards her in episode 4, and it's here we learn some of the why. It's clear he's also pretty unstable about his feelings for Zenigata too, given he seems to be ready to go even harder on Fujiko if they encounter each other again. How he managed to get Angelica and the other girls on his side against Lupin is a mystery for the ages though. Maybe he played some Queen Bee tactics as Isolde following his tying up of Fujiko. Oh, and for the record, anyone looking at the English cast credits and seeing Isolde voiced by Ryan Reynolds, not that one. Next time, we deal with a missile crisis, a psychic predicting death, and an unconventional art piece as we reach episode 9. Until then.